Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back, I'm not going anywhere. Boost! I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2021, the album, Dad AF. Rock on, gold dust, woman. Alright, let's get into this video. I almost didn't do my intro to this video today because I was like, first of all, I woke up and the video that I had planned to do today was a kind of the second part to the video that I did yesterday talking about Trisha Paytas and Nikita Dragon, because after I made my video yesterday, it just kept on going on and on and on, and it was unnecessary and it was ugly, and I was extremely disappointed watching the whole thing go down. And so I had, you know, all the screenshots, and I had like jotted down some notes of things I wanted to say. And then I woke up today and I was like just doing stuff around the house, and typically when I get up, I, take the dogs outside, and then I do my meditations, and I do my gratitude list and my prayers and all that kind of stuff. Kind of get myself spiritually focused in the morning before I go on with my day. And I don't really pick up my phone until I do that. It's one of the things that I learned a couple years ago, that I try to get myself ready for the day, like not dressed and my hair done, obviously, as you can see. Somebody yesterday, they asked on the video, they said, what is hanging off of Peter's nose? Well, I'm peeling a little bit because I just got burnt in Florida. But anyway, yeah, I get ready for the day. I get centered and I get balanced. And then I ask myself, are you ready to go forward with your day? And if you've watched my Peterisms channel, I talk a lot about that over there, about the need to be kind of prepared for the day. And I also do this at the end of the day as well. And I really attempt on most days to put my phone beside the bed, plug it in with my alarm set, and then I don't get on my phone for like the last half an hour or hour before I go to sleep, because I like to try to rid my mind of all of this toxicity and these things, right? So today I was just kind of like doing stuff around the house, and I didn't get on social media. I know it's probably hard for you guys to believe, but I'm not somebody that like immediately wakes up and just gets on social media. I'm just not. Like, some of it to me is just so dark and so toxic and so ugly that it really, after a while, starts taking a toll. I really enjoy what I do on this channel. When I am talking about lighthearted drama, I like to make it kind of fun and, flip the fan and sing songs and wish people happy birthdays, of which I had several today that I wanted to do. I might do that tomorrow. And I like to talk about the lighthearted drama. I think as a commentary channel, it's important, and it's going to be even more important going forward, that I talk about certain issues. And I've said that, right? But I don't... other than kind of opening up a discussion in my comment sections and sharing my opinion about some things, I don't really enjoy doing that a lot. Like, it's just some of these things are not stories that I love to talk about, especially when I feel like it's very serious topics and very serious issues that are being handled via social media, and I don't think that's the place, quite frankly, okay? So, I watched, so when I finally did get on Twitter today, I was just being bombarded with messages, the fact that James Charles had uploaded a video today. His video is called Holding Myself Accountable. He posted it 3 hours ago. I watched it one time and I took notes, and I feel like I put about as much effort into preparing for this video of commentary as James Charles put into coming up with this video that he put out. I don't feel, and you're going to get my opinion today, okay, based on what I saw. I don't feel that there was much thought put into this other than what people were telling him to do. At the beginning of the video, he wanted to make it very clear, as did David Dobrik, that he was in the studio by himself, it was late at night, and he was totally alone. For me, this was a filming tactic, okay, to his audience. And before I get into that, I just want to say, I know there's a lot of people out there that are going to say, no matter what he does, you guys are never going to be happy with the result, okay? I just want to say before going into this, I do not think that the appropriate manner for this to be handled is in an apology video where you say, I'm sorry 50,000 times in a video on YouTube, okay? So yes, anything short of that, or anything of that manner, no, I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's how the situation should be handled. I think it's too serious, okay? So I already know that I'm going to get those comments. Like, you drama channels are never happy with how this stuff is handled. And if he didn't do a video, you would have been upset. If he did do a video, you'd be upset. Whatever, right? So, okay, at the beginning of this video, James Charles goes in and he talks a little bit about it being that it's late at night and he's by himself. David Dobrik did the exact same thing, okay? Well, I'm not really sure what the point of this is, except for to show, like, I'm by myself with my own thoughts. Nobody's convincing me of what to say. Nobody's telling me what to say. What it does for me, okay, as somebody that watches very closely, and I'm sure other drama channels do as well, or commentary channels, and I'm sure a lot of you out there do, what it makes me do is it makes me watch even closer for the discrepancy in what he said, okay? And I don't know about you, but somebody else was in that room with James Charles because I could hear him. So that's just me, and I'm telling you, I don't know what James Charles' need was to say that he was completely alone there when it was very obvious that you could hear somebody else moving around in the back of the video, and it wasn't James Charles moving around, okay? The other thing that was interesting to me, and I've actually seen quite a few comments about this on his own video, was that James Charles was sitting a little bit kind of left to center. He always sits straight forward in his videos. This is a filming technique, and I don't know who told him to do this. I don't know if it maybe was completely a coincidence or it was an accident, okay? But there are different filming techniques you can do. You can have somebody move to a certain side. You can have them sit in a way that they don't usually sit, wear a color that they wouldn't normally wear for a shirt, things like that, to make the audience feel more comfortable or less comfortable, to make them feel like they're seeing a new side of you, which is what I think his attempt was. If I'm sitting a few inches different than what I usually do, you guys, something in your brain is programmed to think, wow, like something's different about James, but I can't figure out what it is. He seems more human. He seems more real, and I think that was his attempt. Spike Lee in his movie Crooklyn, if you would watch it back, if you go back and you watch that movie, and listen, you guys, I have studied film, so I know a little bit of what I'm talking about on this. Not everything, but a little bit, okay? And these people have people around them that have studied film too, and they know what they're doing. In the movie Crooklyn, okay, Spike Lee does something where he makes the rooms seem very, very narrow, and it's to make the people that are watching the movie feel uncomfortable with what they're seeing, okay? There are a lot of techniques like that. If you, Martin Scorsese in the movie Peggy Sue Got Married, which is one of my all-time favorite movies, at the very beginning of the movie, with Kathleen Turner, and she's getting ready to go to her reunion, she stands up like a hundredth of a second, split second before her image in the mirror stands up. And what it's supposed to represent is that it is art imitating life, okay? These are nuances that creators put into their YouTube videos that they've been doing for a long time. So when I say that I'm literally just a dude with a camera sitting here, I don't think a lot about that. I just sit down and flip a fan and wish for the best, okay? But trust me when I tell you that when you're putting an apology video out there because you're worried that you're going to lose your entire career, you're thinking about these things. So just something to think about, okay? He goes in here at the beginning of it. He references the past. He references the No More Lies video with Tati. It was very interesting to me that at the beginning he was just basically like, hey, I want to talk to you guys. I will say this again, and I know people are going to be like, why are the jump cuts important? If you're literally just reaching over and turning on a camera and turning it off, you're in a studio by yourself, you're not editing this video or anything. And he even, at one point, this is what was confusing to me, there were jump cuts in this video. There weren't tons, but there were a few. What is interesting to me about this, okay, is that there was a moment in the video where James stumbled over his words, and so if he left that in, what did he cut out? The jump cuts always make me ask, what did you say that you don't want in the video? What did you say that it wasn't just a stumble over your words because you left that in, right? So if it was just a, hey, like I rambled too long or whatever, what did you take out? What did you say that looking back does not represent you well? That's what is interesting to me. So when people ask about the jump cuts, that's why I think the jump cuts are interesting, okay? Not just where they're at or where they're posed, because in this video they weren't at any specific point, but really, why did you leave in a part where you're stuttering over your words, but then, okay, so that looks very human, but then you took out other parts. What were in those other parts? That's interesting to me. The other thing that's interesting to me is that, he doesn't really talk about anybody else's name. He doesn't say, Tati Westbrook made this video about me, and we're cool today. He doesn't say anything about that. He references the No More Lies video. He talks about the receipts. He says in there that video was filmed with a lot of receipts and this one isn't. Well, my speculation is this video not riddled with the receipts because this time you don't have them, James? I mean, I'm just asking, Because then what you're doing is you're taking the truth and you're kind of spinning it a little bit. I don't know. Like, I was very confused by this video, honestly. And the most confusing thing to me is that at 3 hours, it's sitting at 114,000 likes and 5.5 thousand dislikes. 114,000 people out of 557 have approved of this video. That's a little worrisome to me, honestly, especially when you go underneath here and the top comments, like the top 30 that I read, are all pretty critical of James. I was really interested in that. So anyway, he goes in here and he says it's not scripted whatsoever, which is interesting to me because it seems very scripted to me. Some of the words that he used in there, I was like, these are not words that you just throw around. Like, and y'all know, okay, I get on video every single day. I have notes written down. Here, I'll show them to you, okay? But I have things written down like quotes of his or times that he said things, right? But like, this would not read as a script. I am somebody that makes videos every single day, not scripted, okay? You stumble over your words a lot. You say, you do that kind of stuff, right? All that kind of, right? There's not a lot of that in this video. I don't believe that this video is not scripted. As somebody that does unscripted videos every single day, okay, I'm telling you, on 6 different channels, there's no way this video is not unscripted. Which, whatever, but then why say it again, you know? Just say it like Tati did. This is a scripted video, and it's been approved of what I could say. So, okay, he goes in there and he says he's sorry. He says he's sorry to the victims at one point, which he refers to them as victims. I'm like, okay, this is what is so problematic about this whole situation. To the people that come over here and say, these are just allegations. James has said on Twitter that the allegations were true. He took accountability for it, okay? He has now come out on video, called them victims, okay? He himself has called them victims and taken responsibility for it. Never in our experience of being on YouTube have we ever witnessed anything about this. And he calls the video holding myself accountable. So he's holding himself accountable to the victims. This is, and so when people are like, well, these are just, maybe they're not true, he comes out and says they're true. The only thing that is interesting to me is that he only addresses 2 situations, when at this point, I think we're at 5 or 6. You know, one situation to me is maybe like, and I'm talking about just in anything in the world, okay? That any mishap in the world or any, I don't know, however you want to word it, okay? One situation, maybe a poor choice in judgment, okay? 2, you still haven't learned your lesson. 5 or 6, it's a pattern, okay? Like, let's just be for real. So he goes on, and then he says to him that he's filming this video on March 31st, going into the morning, and that it's 12:54 a.m., and that the video will be posted on April Fool's Day. He said, I know it's really bad timing. A lot of people are making jokes about the fact that it's filmed on April Fool's Day, whatever, okay? I think that this needs to be discussed, the reason why he put this timestamp on the video, okay? I watch a lot of tarot card readers, okay? Y'all know I love B. Lucille, all right? B. Lucille holds up her phone, B. Lucille tarot card reader, she holds up her phone when she's doing readings and to tell you what time and date it is, okay? So you can refer back to the video as factual evidence that that's when she spoke about it. So it's not like she put up the video after the situation happened and she can say, oh, this was me claiming to do it. No, she said it before and there's factual evidence. Much in the same way, James Charles is timestamping this video at 12:54 a.m. And actually he said it was on 3:31, but it wasn't. It was on 4/1 because he filmed it last night going up to today, okay? So, unless he filmed it 2 days ago and edited it and then put it up this morning. So, 12:54 a.m. on 3:31, that's what he's saying, right? The reason that that time and date is important because what he is saying in there is, I am taking responsibility, I am holding myself accountable for everything that has come out prior to 3:31, 12:54 a.m., okay? So if 10 more allegations come out in the next week, but they all happened before this because he references when they happened, one happened in December and another one happened at a different time. If new allegations come out after this video is made, but they happened before, hey, listen, I already took accountability for it. Now, what's worrisome about that is, watching that makes me think James knows there's many more situations that could come out, that there were other people that James was talking to, that they too could come out and speak their truth, right? Or why else would he timestamp the video at that time? I don't, it's confusing to me other than that. The only thing I can think is that he's timestamping the video so that when other things come out, he can say, I already addressed it, and this was from way before that. I'm a changed person today, okay? So then he goes on and he addresses the 2 victims, the messages. He said he added them on Snapchat, but he immediately blocked them after finding out, you know, of their age, and that he could have looked at their social media platforms and figured all that out, but he just didn't. And I just want to say, this whole thing to me about creators dipping into, like he goes in this whole thing talking about how his For You and his Explore page are not dating apps. Whoever thought they were? Like, that's such an interesting concept to me, okay? And I've talked a lot about these, you know, influencers, creators, whatever you want to call them. Buffoons, fools, boobs at this point. You know, I've talked a lot about them having, you know, this arrogance, ego, and pride. Imagine thinking that anybody's DMs, or anybody's, you know, that DMs that you would dip into from an Explore page on Instagram. First of all, you want to complain a lot about the algorithm on Instagram not working to your advantage of pushing your posts, but you have no problem with Instagram picking out your dates for you, okay? So I don't understand what all that's about. After just talking about jump cuts, my battery died because I just got back from doing a review and I forgot to change the battery. So anyway, I reviewed the Pikachu drink at Starbucks, so go check it out on my review channel. But anyway, what I was going to say was, I cannot imagine, you know, I talk a lot about the arrogance, ego, and pride that goes along with these influencers, these YouTubers, whatever, right? Can you imagine, just open your Instagram, you know, Explore page or whatever. Can you imagine looking at that and really believing in your heart of hearts that anybody that you like contacted on that Explore page, anybody that you wanted to contact, okay, that you could just have a relationship with them if you just sent them a DM? Who thinks that way? Like, seriously, who thinks that way? And I really, really believe in my heart of hearts, I don't believe that he'll ever come out and say this because he doesn't want to give Jeffree Star any more attention than has already happened in the past. But I really believe that this all starts with Jeffree Star. I think that James Charles back in the day, I saw Jeffree have this relationship with Nathan Schwant, who he reached out to via DMs on Instagram, or Nathan reached out to him, or however it happened. And I think that James saw that they had this supposedly amazing relationship. I think James wanted that. And so I think James thought, this is how I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it the same way that Jeffree Star did it. And I think that's where the whole thing started, honestly. Because this has been going on for years. And this has been going on since the Nathan and Jeffree Star thing happened. To me, it's so crazy to think that, you know, these influencers are, like, meeting people through social media apps, like, and dipping into their DMs. Like, it's just, it's crazy to me. I really, really do not understand it at all. You know, and I think this is the thing that James doesn't understand. You know, he has 25.7 million followers on YouTube. You know, he has even more than that, I think, on Instagram. He has more money than he knows what to do with at his age. He has a brand that he's coming out with. You know, he has Morphe deals, all this kind of stuff, right? You know, I apologize, James, but when you have that kind of fame, there are some things you trade off. And having a normal dating life is probably one of those things, you know? I mean, you're just not going to have the normal, regular life that everybody else has. Not to mention that there are millions upon millions upon millions of people out there that do not have relationships, okay? I remember when, you know, I was like in my mid-20s or something, and I was like going through a breakup with my very first boyfriend, and I can remember sitting here with my mom. She and I were watching, true story, I've talked about this in my videos before. We were watching Jerry Springer, and these two guys were fighting over this woman, and I'm like, I don't understand, Mom, like, how she can get two men fighting over her, and I can't even, you know, get one. And my mom looked at me, she made some joke about that, but then she looked at me and she said, you know, honey, she said, none of us are promised a partner in life. Like, no, none of us are promised a mate in life. You know, if it happens, yeah, that's amazing, but none of us are promised that, you know? And I think it's the truth. And I think so, to like go to these extremes because you feel like you deserve a relationship, you know, I mean, you have a pretty amazing life. Why don't you be grateful for that? You know, why don't you be grateful for the life that you've been given instead of complaining about the one thing that you don't have in your life? There's a lot of people out there that don't have the money, the job, not to mention that every day that you wake up, you get to do something that you absolutely love and get paid millions and millions of dollars for it. There are people out there that are working 3 jobs just to put food on their table for their kids, and they're a lot more grateful than you are, okay? And they haven't had a relationship in 10 years, so, you know, get over yourself. Then he goes in there and he says that he takes responsibility. This is the accountability part. And he says it was unacceptable. And he said that he has done a lot of soul searching, okay, or something to that effect. And that he has finally figured out the reason that he does this, that he reaches out to these people, okay? And that is because he's desperate. Okay, you want us to take this seriously. You really want us to take this seriously. Now, James Charles had me in this video until that moment, okay? When he was talking about the work behind the scenes that he was doing and he wanted to share with everybody what he was doing, I was like, oh, okay, so James has been working with a counselor, like or a therapist the last couple weeks. You know, maybe this therapist and counselor, you know, has really been pointing out some facts to him, okay? James Charles comes up with the reason that he's desperate. Now, I don't know who your therapist is that put that in your head, but you might want to find you a new therapist, okay? I'm just saying, all right? Now listen, okay? I think many of us, desperation is a feeling and emotion that we have related to in our lives, okay? I think many people out there are desperate for money, but they're not robbing banks. I'm just saying, okay? You know, desperation as an excuse for all of this behavior is such a pathetic attempt. I mean, I'm really like, did you really just desperation? Like, that's your answer for all of this? 10 I'm sorries and desperation, okay? Well, if you ever come out with a cologne, you ought to call it that. 10 I'm sorries and a desperation, and it stinks, okay? Because it's ridiculous. So then he goes on and he says that all he's ever wanted was a relationship to complete him, basically, okay? Then he goes on and he said that like 2 years ago when all this happened, he really believed in him. He really believed that what he was saying was true, you know, that it was really just about straight guys and lying or something like that. And then he goes on and he says that he feels that he could reach out to literally anybody and use his Explore page as a dating app, yada, 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 okay? And, you know, I just want to say this really quick. Okay, I'm like in my head. I'm like, should I say this? Should I not say this? I think this is a truism we need to talk about when it comes to James Charles, okay? That, now, I have been out of the closet for 30 years, okay? I have met many straight men in my life that have been very, very uncomfortable being around me. I don't know what that reason is for, okay? A lot of people want to say that's their own internalized homophobia or their own internalized issues of being gay. I don't know. I think a lot of it is how they were raised. I think a lot of it is a religiosity. I think a lot of it is they just don't understand it, okay? It doesn't make any sense to them, and they've never been around gay people before. That being said, I also have a lot of like heterosexual men in my life, and I'm just specifically talking about heterosexual men when I talk about this. I've had a lot of heterosexual men in my life that have been allies, okay, that have fully supported me 100% and have never been uncomfortable around me and have embraced me, hugged me, been really good friends of ours, okay, or mine and of ours, my husband and I. And in fact, our closest couple that we travel with, that we do everything with, that we're going to be having dinner with tonight, okay, is a heterosexual couple, and he has never acted that way. He's never acted weird around me or anything. He's always just, we've loved each other as friends, right? That being said, I would be sitting here lying if I was telling you that as a gay man, I have never been attracted to a heterosexual man, okay? I would be lying to you if I said that, okay? And I think most gay men at one point or another would tell you, yes, there are many heterosexual men out there that I find attractive, okay? I say all the time when people ask me for celebrity passes when we do Q&As, Daniel Craig is my hands down. Daniel Craig, George Clooney, who else? Well, I also say Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, but they're playing on my team. But, you know, who else? Brad Pitt. I mean, these are heterosexual men, right? That I find very physically attractive. That being said, heterosexual men in my life that I have found attractive, that have been nothing but kind to me and nothing but nice to me, okay, I know where that boundary lies. And I think that most, if I would say, the majority of gay men that I know where that boundary lies, that we don't step over that boundary and make those heterosexual allies uncomfortable, okay? Because we are are so thankful that they are there in our lives. I have a lot of very, very handsome heterosexual allies in my life, and I'm proud to call them my friends, okay? And I would never hit on them or do something that would make them uncomfortable. So to say that is just such a BS excuse to me that you convinced yourself it was about this, okay? Even when I was 21 years old and I was drinking every single day and doing drugs, I knew, okay, that they were straight, they were not gay, and never the twain shall meet, okay? I don't understand this whole idea of trying to convince somebody otherwise. And to be honest, it really makes the gay community look really bad. And I really cannot stand that whole kind of like, you know, this whole idea of like, oh, well, they're bi-curious, so we're gonna, no. Bi-curious means you let them figure it out and we stay away, okay? That's what my rule has always been. I don't, it just, it's that, I know it's such a small part of what came up, but like for me, it's where it all started. And I'm like, you know, you need to get some good, strong gay role models in your life, okay, that are going to tell you really how to live your life appropriately and how to be a good gay role model for other people that come up behind you. That just bothered me when he said that. And I've never said that in a video before, and I felt like I needed to. So then he goes into this. He felt like he could literally reach out to anybody and use his Explore page as a dating app, blah, 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 blah. Who'd care, okay? Yes, you've got so much power, James. We know you can change things with the drop of your hat, blah, blah, blah. This is why I don't believe that you're going to learn anything. Then he goes in and says that there's a lot of discussion about power imbalance, okay? There's always been a lot of discussion about power imbalances with these things. I'm 48 years old. When these things were being discussed 25, 30 years ago, we were talking about power imbalances. This is nothing new. Educate yourself, okay? You're the one in power. They're not. There's a power imbalance. It's a teeter-totter. What's so hard to understand about that? Okay. Then he goes on and he says, these are topics that we need to be talking about more. And I was just done at this point, okay? And for all of you out there who are like, James did such a great job. No. In that moment, James Charles became the teacher. And I've said this before. I said it about Shane Dawson. I said it about David Dobrik. And I'm going to say it about James Charles, okay? In that moment, you should be sitting in your seat in class, taking a lesson from other people and learning from other people. You are nobody's teacher in that moment to be telling us what conversations that we should be having. Okay, it's ridiculous, honestly. You should just sit there with your tail between your legs, and you should be just sitting there. And what you really should have done is put in a video and said, y'all, I have no idea why I do this, and it is a pattern, and it has happened time and time again, and I'm going to make sure that it doesn't happen again, and I'm taking time off of YouTube, I'm taking time off of Instagram, I'm not going to be posting anything, and I'm going to go, and I'm going to work exclusively with somebody to figure out what is going on at the core, because there's obviously something going on here, okay? Instead of saying, I'm going to take a break, but I'm still going to be there. I don't know what that means. I'm watching all the discussions. I'm watching all the drama videos. I'm sure he is. James Charles has always watched all the drama videos. If he didn't like a title that I put in a video, he would message me and be like, really, Peter? The title of this video? Really, James? I could have come up with a better title for this video than the one that you put on it. Anyway, then he says he's ashamed and embarrassed, which I bet he is. I totally believe that he's ashamed and embarrassed, you know? I totally believe that. And then he says through action and change that he's now educated. Well, I mean, he says that he only believes that you can see somebody really grow through action and change. And I completely agree with that, and I think it was the right thing to say in the video. And we're going to see if that happens, you know? Or are we going to be sitting here 6 months from now or a year from now and it'll be the same thing? I don't know. I mean, James at this point is really the one that's in control of his career going forward, and I don't know that he really gets that, you know? And I'll tell you why I don't know if he really gets that, because he says, for you, these are the things that he has learned, that the For You and Explore page are not dating apps, and that in the future that he will not be using them for dating apps, and that he will be asking for identification in the future. So for me, that's not really the takeaway. I'm sorry, but for me, that's not really the takeaway of this whole thing, okay? That for you to meet your future boyfriend is not on Instagram and TikTok, and that you need to ask people for identification, you know, to verify their age and things like that. The takeaway really should be maybe you're not in a position to be dating right now. I'm just saying, you know. When friends of mine go through breakups, I say, take a year to yourself to get to know who you are, learn who you are. And, you know, we have a saying in recovery, and I'm just going to throw it out there. You don't really have something to give to somebody else until you've worked on yourself. James, you need to work on yourself a little bit, okay? You don't really have anything to give anybody else right now except for your power. And I think you've known that for quite some time. And I do think that more is going to continue to come out. And I think that he knows that, which is why he put the timestamp on it. And then he said he's going to be taking some time away to reflect and better learn about this whole situation. So I'm sure when he comes back, he'll be teaching us all more about this. I don't know. You know, for me, it's like, well, let's go in here. I will read you. For me, it's just like, why now and what was the purpose? Okay? Because I'm taking accountability, but let me make 15 excuses for why. Taking accountability, you just take accountability. You don't say, this is why I did it, because I'm desperate and I've always wanted a relationship. And let me plead to my 15-year and younger audience that they all want boyfriends and girlfriends, and they've all just wanted to be loved too. Because that's who the 115,000 people liking the video are. The ones that are like, oh, God, I totally relate to that. That's 25-year-old Peter that all I wanted was a relationship at any expense, okay? And I think most of us have felt that at some time or another, right? But then ask yourself, did you go to such lengths? I don't know, you know? Like, I think it's a good question. So underneath here are some of the top comments. He went from hey sisters to hello everyone real quick. Why does it sound like he's recording this while his parents are asleep in the next room? It was so quiet, the volume was turned down. A lot of people comment on the volume. Hold on a second. Do I have the top comments? Yep, I have the top comments on. At this point, hi everyone is what we call a rare word in James' position. The top people, David Dobrik, James Charles, mentioning they're filming Alone After Midnight as if it changes anything. True story. Someone said, hello everyone. Oh damn, he's serious. To the guys involved in the situation, okay, I'm not going to read that one. Someone said, YouTube should do a YouTube rewind with all the apologies, please, please. Someone said, fast forward 2 years. Hi, sisters. I am once again asking for your forgiveness. I'm just waiting for him to scream April Fool's Day. Okay, so this is in a nutshell. 4.5%. I have no receipts and they don't matter. 35%. I have no excuses. 45%. I should be mature and so I will address. 0.5%. I am sorry. 0% sister. Me watching James' hair slowly deflate throughout the video. Let's normalize going to therapy. It's really funny how everyone's biggest concern is that he didn't say hi, sisters. Now I finally can know what everyone is talking about. Why did I watch the whole video thinking it was an April Fool's prank? And it goes on and on and on. I wanted to screenshot. The padlock and key earrings are so symbolic. It kind of keeps coming up with similar situations. Goes on and on and on. So the comments underneath there, you guys, are not good. So can somebody explain to me how this video has so many likes on it? You know, and my last time I talked about it, people were like, well, maybe he bought likes. I don't think that he would leave up negative comments if he was buying likes. So that means so many people out there are approving of this video, which is really interesting to me, you know? And then I have to say it was... Another thing that was interesting was that I went to Twitter right before I started filming this video, and literally, you guys... My fellow drama channel, commentary channels, right here in a row, the three of them. I have Angelica Oles, and then I have T-Spill, and then I'm Justin Daly, right three in a row commenting about this. Angelica Oles said, anyone who believed a word of that video is below the age of 12. That's it. I agree. T-Spill said, Your Honor, I was desperate. And Dustin said, how the F do you admit to a crime addressing the public in a written apology on Twitter and then make a video about it, but you aren't being prosecuted? So go over to Twitter, because the drama commentary channels, I think I'm the last one making a video today. They've all made videos, and it's like James said, it's a discussion that needs to be had. So please let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.